everywhere. They had to have the votes posted 30 minutes after the polls closed. They didn't. That's just a matter of fact. And another thing, yes, I agree with you. Every vote should be counted. Absolutely. That should go across the aisle. The question is when? What is Florida doing? Late voting now? So now we're doing early voting and we're doing post-election balloting?
The Democrats are outperforming Republicans in the late vote.
They do the dead vote, the late vote? This is absurd.
Dan, they're counting votes that were cast on Election Day. They are slow to count in Florida. They're slow to count in lots of states.
Point stipulated. The problem is, as Greg accurately stated, she doesn't even know how many votes are to be counted.
She didn't have
you
it at
had
the
one
top of
job.
her head.
You have.
But she hasn't even communicated to the campaigns or to the public what the vote count is.
And she has
That's
to now.
required by law.
Well, the judge ruled against her. You're right. And by 7 p.m. tonight, they said she had to put those numbers out. I think she should be more transparent. I just don't think we should jump to the conclusion that because the race is tightening, which often happens when provisional ballots get counted, that there's somehow fraud. We have to wait for evidence.
Well, just because the one overseeing it has a history of fraud.
But
that's
so
why
should Brian
the
Kemp
suspicion.
be overseeing Georgia?
I'm not sure evidence means what you think it means. Like, there is significant evidence of irregularities going on here. She is not. How do you not have the vote count?
Point out voter fraud evidence to me.
She didn't even report. She's not letting people in to actually watch her fill out the provisional ballot.
We don't know that. That's an accusation.
And then there was an extra
accusations
ballot.
Are evidence.
No,
when you
they're
have,
not.
Especially when you don't let people
why would they file a lawsuit if they were allowed to watch?
They just won in court.
Because they want
Why follow the lawsuit if you're already watching? They filed the lawsuit because they've been barred.
They want. Look, a lot of these lawsuits that we're going to see during these recounts are going to be shaky on legal ground, but done for partisan political reasons. That happens in every recount. We've seen that. We just have to let the evidence take us where it takes us.
It is kind of amazing that and it's not good, Greg, I'll go back to you, that either way, right?
Yes.
Half of the population there in Florida will think that the other half did something to steal this election from them. That's not good.
The Dems just want to make America suffer. It's like losing the World Series and demanding an extra inning a day later. I have a new nickname, by the way, for Bill Nelson.
What's up?
Count Dracula. Anyway, but we predicted this, I think, last week. We said that no matter what the outcome was, whether the Dems were going to win or lose, they weren't going to be happy because they were just, this is too much of their life.
I'm happy.
But you're different, Marie. You're a very pleasant person.
Can I just say one thing, though? I lost an election by 1 point, and I won on election day and lost on an absentee count. I conceded, and you can go to the Daily Caller article. I wrote a very nice letter to John Delaney, who's now running for president, and said it's time. Even people encouraging me to file a lawsuit. It's time to move on. This is BS.
But you
there
let
are
the
clear
absentee votes
irregularities.
get counted. You let them get counted.
Yeah, but according to the rules, why did they just lose in court?
Now.
But why did they just lose in court? Why did she not post 30 minutes after, like she was supposed to?
She's going to have to tonight.
The lesson is never concede.
Well, I mean, no, seriously, Bill Nelson never conceded.
You'd still be running.
Jesse made a good point, and then we laughed about it.
What was
like most points?
Like, don't concede. And Bill Nelson never conceded, but Andrew Gillum did, and now that one also could end up at a recount.
That's true.
Recount Dracula.
That's a pretty good one.
Thanks.
We're on our game tonight. Top Democrats now contradicting themselves over Jeff Sessions' resignation. The must-see.
After midnight, why did it always feel? I just died of your arms tonight.
Greg, stop making me laugh. I'm new at this. Stop. Gutfeld's making me laugh before I start here. Democratic lawmakers are losing it over Jeff Sessions' resignation. They're now demanding that the Trump administration preserve records relating to Sessions stepping down. Democrats are also accusing the president of interfering with Bob Mueller's never-ending investigation by appointing Matthew Whitaker as acting AG. The liberal hypocrisy over Sessions is hitting epic levels. Check out this tweet from Senator Elizabeth Warren back in 2017, where she said Sessions needed to resign. But now that he's gone, she's calling it a, quote, constitutional crisis. And Rep. Jerry Nadler also now completely flipping his stance. Back in 2017, he also said Sessions, quote, must resign as AG. But now he's saying this.
This was part of the pattern of evidence of interference by the president in the Mueller investigation.
Does that mean obstruction? What does pattern?
Yes, I think that's certainly evidence of obstruction of justice.
And last year, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi said anything less than Sessions resigning is unacceptable. But now she's accusing Trump of trying to interfere with Mueller's investigation. Marie, you had
Yes,
to know I was
Dan.
coming to you.
I knew.
This was
I'm
like
ready.
inevitable. This is going to be Clash of the Titans on this one.
I'm ready.
So I don't get it. We were told by Democrats, including Al Franken when he was in the Senate, that
Yeah.
Jeff Sessions was part of this massive Russian collusion scheme. He had these unauthorized meetings, that they were totally inappropriate. They attacked him. They demanded he recuse himself. Now he recuses himself, and all of a sudden the Democrats are jumping on the Sessions bandwagon. I guess my question is Sessions part of the scheme, or is he the good guy and the outside of the scheme trying to investigate the scheme? I mean, what is it?
Well, I think the Sessions thing is interesting because a lot of those tweets you read were before he recused himself, when more information started coming out about his contacts with the Russians. I never said he should resign, but I said he should recuse himself, and he did that. You cannot like Jeff Sessions and not think he was a good attorney general and also believe that you should be worried that President Trump fired him, put someone into that position who has very negative feelings about the Mueller investigation. He has made those clear publicly. And I think preserving records is a definite. We need transparency. And I also think you're going to hear from Congress. You know, Jeff Flake and Chris Coons are going to introduce a bill to protect Mueller. It probably won't go anywhere. But I do think when they put a new AG up to be confirmed by the Senate, you will hear Republicans, Susan Collins, Mitt Romney, when he's in the Senate, making sure that the new Attorney General supports Mueller continuing to the end. That's all we're asking for, is Mueller being able to finish his job without interference.
That's all you're asking.
Just count every vote.
Count every vote. You're
Right.
so...
These are not controversial things, guys. These are pretty common sense. And I think that Whitaker has, and the fact that John Yoo and George Conway, Republican jurists, think there's a constitutional problem with Whitaker should not be over. It's not just Democrats, Dan.
So but you know what kills me? Can I just... there are people on the streets protesting the firing of Jeff Sessions. Left-wingers are protesting the firing of a hardcore right-winger. I mean, this guy would give you a lethal injection if you had a man bun. And there are people who are like acting. It just shows it's like, you're on your side, so many people have free time.
Yeah,
I couldn't. I mean, like, it was to your point yesterday, that like they're not protesting war or poverty.
They're protesting obstruction of justice and possible tampering with an ongoing investigation. That's not nothing.
Well, this is,
That's not
come
like,
on. It's not obstruction.
I'm just bored and I'm going to go protest.
He was working there for 2 years.
Dana, this is an ongoing question
I'm
now.
just not nothing.
This bothers me, drives me crazy, because none of these concerns seem to present themselves under the Obama administration. And people could say, oh, this is whataboutism. Yes, it is. Because whataboutism means, are there principles? What about, or are there not? And
Finally, someone to defend whataboutism.
Whataboutism is like,
I agree.
That was a bold move by Gino.
No, thank you. I mean, Lindsey Graham said it best. Lindsey Graham said, listen, I'm a principled guy. I didn't like Eric Holder. I didn't like Loretta Lynch, but I voted for them because he believes the president's entitled to appoint his people. How can the president be charged with obstruction of justice for dismissing Jeff Sessions or asking him to resign? I don't get it.
Well, he has the absolute authority to fire Jeff Sessions. And you always serve at the pledge of the president. Like, the letter was written, it wasn't even dated. It was like, here you go. He probably had it ready for a while. We all knew that he wanted to get rid of Sessions. The president can have a person in there. The thing is, I think the way that he's gone about suggesting Mark Whitaker as the acting AG will probably fall apart. And the president today, before he left for Paris, when he was on the South Lawn answering questions, he's like, I don't even know this guy, Mark Whitaker, anyway. So that's usually the sign that that's not going to happen.
Right.
But it doesn't really matter, that there will be a new attorney general. I do think it's interesting on the protest front. Go back to Sessions' hearing. Usually other senators are quite congenial to the other senators when they're going to be confirmed. Wasn't it Senator Booker that testified against Sessions? Right? At the testimony, I mean, like,
brutal to him.
They were against him. Now they're for him. They're like the big Jeff Sessions fan. It's a little hard to swallow.
Jesse, I still don't get the initial question I posed to Marie, and I heard your answer, but I'm still confused. If Jeff Sessions
will clear it up for you.
was, I know that's why I'm going right through. If Jeff Sessions was part of this intricate conspiracy and had these inappropriate meetings with Russians that caused him to recuse himself, why would you, as a Democrat senator, in any way object to him resigning? Supposedly, your case is that he's part of the whole conspiracy. I don't get it. Like, unconfused.
I don't get it either. I think that, as Greg mentioned yesterday, pot stocks are skyrocketing. Democrats should love that. Now that he's out of there, everyone can smoke weed again, and they should love that. The Democrats love that. Also, can we pull Nadler's face back up on the screen? His eyebrow is as crooked as Hillary. Did you see that thing shoot out to the right like that? I've never seen an eyebrow
my eyebrows
like
get like that.
I'm an eyebrow connoisseur.
Everyone doesn't have as good as that.
I know.
My eyebrow does that, and I come in here and they have to, like, they spend hours combing it.
Yeah,
down.
with that little pick.
Yeah,
right.
that little pick.
I know, I have one too. I would say this.
He and I are like, what's
Democrats think they can pick Trump's cabinet. In order to pick a cabinet, you actually have to win an election.
Or
They
you be
ca-
in the Senate and you advise and consent under the
No,
Constitution.
listen.
No,
He can pick whoever he wants. I think Whitaker's a great pick, even though Trump's never heard of him.
Except when he said he knew him
never
on
knew that
Fox and
I
Friends
just
last
want to
year.
thank Molly Hemingway, too, for interviewing Jerry Nadler on the Amtrak, although Jerry Nadler didn't seem to know it. So nice job, Molly Hemingway. President Trump once again blasting CNN's Jim Acosta and is now threatening to pull more press passes. See it next on The Five.
President Trump doubling down today on his decision to suspend the press pass of CNN's Jim Acosta after their fiery exchange during the president's news conference on
Democrats
Wednesday.
now contradicting themselves.
I think Jim Acosta is a very unprofessional man. I think he does this with everybody. He gets paid to do that. I don't think he's a smart person, but he's got a loud voice. As far as I'm concerned, I haven't made that decision, but it could be others also. When you're in the White House, this is a very sacred place to me. This is a very special place. You have to treat the White House with respect. You have to treat the presidency with respect.
Trump also took a shot at another White House reporter, April Ryan, calling her a, quote, loser. Dana.
Why do you go to me first?
Because you were the White House
From a
press
public
secretary.
relations perspective.
No, I know this is the president's shtick. I know he does this and he thinks it works with his base, and it probably does. But this week, it went to another level, pulling someone's pass, and the words he used today to describe these reporters.
Yeah.
I know I don't like a lot of what Trump does, but this really gets to me.
Okay, so a couple of things. For me, there is not a lot of love lost for Jim Acosta amongst the White House press corps. Okay, like they don't want to say it publicly.
But you will.
I am going to tell them. That, they're trying to do their job, and he's making it more difficult because he is a total distraction. And news gathering is what you're supposed to do at the White House. There's a mission, right? You're supposed to chronicle the presidency. You can ask the president questions. You hold him to account on behalf of the readers of the newspaper that you work for. So that's the mission of the White House press corps. That's what you're supposed to do. Argumentation is not news gathering. Okay, so there for one, I think that CNN could make a decision. Like, is it good for them? Like, who's winning here? Do they think that this is a good thing for them? Maybe. I do think that we also have to make a distinction that the president and the White House, they took away the hard pass. That is not a press credential. Okay, so it's like you can't take away someone's press credential. The government cannot do that to you. Obama could not do that to Ed Henry when he joined Fox News. Like, that is not possible. But you can take away the hard pass.
Yeah.
That means that you're a security risk. Now, we did revoke somebody's hard pass once because this woman was rifling through colleagues' pockets, stealing things. And she was found rifling through a West Wing desk. I'm not going to say.
Come on, initials. Give me the initials.
Was it Sneaky Snipes?
It was not.
What does it rhyme with? Does it rhyme with?
It does. You wouldn't even know her. But so we had to revoke her hard pass. That means you can't get back into the White House. He could still get a day pass if the White House approves it. The way I dealt with reporters that we just you couldn't deal with them anymore is I put them in the deep freeze. There's one reporter, he's probably watching now because he works with an old friend of ours. He's still in the deep freeze from
Who's
2008.
that? Who's that? Initials.
BF.
BF?
Yes, and I told everybody in my office, I said, no one talks to him. He's in the deep freeze. And he's been in the deep freeze since
Bob,
2008.
Barry, Bill, Bob.
Keep trying.
Brian
Fallon?
Fallon?
No.
Close.
No. But anyway, I think there's a way that you can deal with it where you put him in the deep freeze.
But it's bigger than Acosta, and I saw the comments about April Ryan saying reporters' questions were stupid from the president. But Greg, I saw you laugh when the president said the White House is very sacred.
Well, here's the deal.
Because he's like, not exactly a respectful person.
We know what Trump is. Trump is he's a caustic guy, but he's also, and I said this before, pretty much of a pacifist. So if you have to look at would you rather have a super polite dude who just drops bombs? Or would you rather have a guy who's got a pretty caustic personality, but kind of wants to keep American troops out of harm's way? And I also have to disagree. This is not an attack on the free press. Trump went to Acosta, one of the first guys he went to, right?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like also, that's what I say about the deep freeze.
Yeah.
Don't call on him.
Yeah, and he got 3 questions. And then he started poking the bear, and and then Trump, if it was an attack on the press, why did Trump stay for 90 minutes?
Because he loves it.
Yes, and he's
feeds on it.
and he that's good for everybody.
Yeah, and that's the other thing.
Especially
and that's when I'm sorry to take up all this time, but the White House press corps, one of the reasons they're frustrated is because Jim Acosta is a distraction. The president has been really willing to take questions from the press. Every time he goes out to Marine One, he's been willing. Yes, and so if Acosta makes it so that it's harder to ask questions of the president, it hurts everybody else trying to do their job and fulfill their mission.
Jesse, should the president call reporters losers?
If they're losers,
Do you think April Ryan should have gotten called that name?
I don't know much about her, so I can't really comment on it. I do know about Acosta, not personally, but his conduct's totally unbecoming. And, as someone that really prides himself as someone that conducts himself in a very professional way.
Yes, I've seen your beach coverage.
I think I can pass judgment. In all seriousness, he was looking for a confrontation. Acosta got what he wanted, then got put in a timeout, and he should just take his medicine. Okay, he thinks he's like the Rosa Parks of the White House press corps. Yeah. This is not a threat to the First Amendment. You're fine. They revoked your press pass.
And I think it's important. It's the hard pass. See, because I think that the press or some on the left are trying to say, this is a First Amendment issue, that they're taking away their right to do their job. No. They're just saying that you can't come in the building because it's a security issue.
I just want to ask a serious question, though. Has Acosta ever broken a story that's not about Acosta? He breaks stories about himself. Yeah. And I want to thank him because he managed to direct the conversation away from the Democrats' I think rather successful night, split decision, but a good night, to stories about, again, Jim Acosta, who most conservatives have just generally at this point tend to just dislike because of what he does. So good job, Jim Acosta. I appreciate it. Getting us ready for 2020.
Oh, God. Okay. Coming up, one dad pushes the limit on helping his son's youth soccer team. That and more in the Fastest 7 up next.
Welcome back. Time for the Fastest 7. Yeah. First up, take a good look at the 5 right now, because we're all going to be extinct. Greg first. China has created an artificial news anchor. Check this out.
Hello, everyone. I'm an English artificial intelligence anchor. This is my very first day in Xinhua News Agency. My voice and appearance.
Sounds like Wolf Blitzer, Greg.
It does. He would fit in at CNN. But you know what? We have nothing to worry about because the only AI can replace hard news, but they can't do what we do.
No,
because you can't do opinions. You don't want to hear AI opinion. If they report it straight, it's just like a newswire. But not this. We're safe.
Yeah, we're good.
Trust me.
We're good.
Yes.
Thank God. I don't have any other skills.
Well, I think that you might soon see him replacing Jim Acosta at the White House.
You can't take his.
He has more life than Acosta.
Give up the microphone.
Can you imagine if they did, though, create AI versions of all of us? what that would look like.
Maybe
No,
we are.
we're in.
Maybe this is a simulation, Marie. We could be created. Actually, we might be part of an algorithm.
You didn't
And we
take
just
the blue
don't
pill
know.
or something?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Listen,
right.
let's be
Just blew
honest.
my mind.
AI, your job is safe. No one else could have thought of sneaky snipes. But
Yeah.
There's
That's right.
no AI cat that would have thought of that.
That's what we
Ain't
call
no
her.
chance, brother.
That's what we
No
call
way.
her.
That's what.
The nickname producer.
All right, up next. Are you a pushy parent? Watch as one dad takes it to the extreme at his son's soccer game.
Oh, where's the goal? Keep the goal in. Make your fucking goal.
Holy crap.
I kind of liked it. Bongino, what do you think?
Listen, I got kids. You do anything for your kids. You don't even care about becoming like a YouTube infamous person. You just do it. It's like I would totally do the same
I think
thing.
I would do the
I'd
same
tip to
thing.
that cat.
I
Love
like
that.
it.
Good job.
I allow it. What do
I
you
think
think,
my
Ray?
dad would totally do it too. Also, this is in Wales, right? In the UK.
They take it quite seriously.
They
there.
take soccer, football very seriously.
That's true. But you can't get in
Oh, that
trouble
poor
for
No,
that.
I love this. I think
I
it's
think that the
great.
kid probably hates soccer or football, and he doesn't want to play it anymore. And now his dad just pushed him and made him.
I think it was a great save. Greg?
A couple of things. This is one of the reasons why I don't have kids, because I don't want to attend kids' sports. I hated attending my own games as a kid. Why would I want to go see other kids play sports very poorly? They can't. It's also like
Yeah, high school, that's another story. That
Yeah,
age, you're
yeah.
right.
Also, that made the game interesting. So why not incorporate that into the game?
Put a dad on the other
Put
side.
a dad on the other side. Yeah.
Wow, I like that
Yes.
idea. All right, and finally, the PC police on full patrol across the pond. The European Union setting new guidelines on what's appropriate for gender-based words. Here are some examples. Something that's man-made is now artificial. Headmasters are now principals. And instead of mankind, they're told to say humanity. This is just so weak. They're just changing the English language to appease weaklings, Greg.
Well, here's the thing. When we were growing up, we saw, books like 1984. There was always this idea that government was going to be the people controlling our lives. Actually, it's coming from academia. People graduate from the campus in which they believe in language control and speech codes, and they're moving out now into the real world. And this is the result: is you're having people actually tell you what to say and what not to say, and you can be punished for it. I have some words I wanted to ban.
good.
Shenanigan, sheep, shepherd, Sherlock, Sherpa, shed, sheriff, sherry, and Shetland. They all contain the word she.
Okay.
Sexist.
Didn't you want to ban leaving it all in the field too?
Yes,
For
I
the
did. I
election
banned
thing?
that a
was
couple-
you.
yeah, I do
So
ban a
watched
lot
the
of
show.
things.
See, I did watch the show too.
That little goalie left it all out in the field.
Yes.
Literally.
Well, what do you think? If I said mankind, would that ring a bell? Would that trigger something in your mind?
No.
You wouldn't even think, right?
No, I'm not offended by that. I want governments, or this is the EU, right? So it's a governmental body. Like maybe they should focus on women making as much as men, equal pay, and not what words we use. Maybe
We don't have that
Nice
problem here,
pivot.
Marie.
Oh, do we not have that problem in the
We don't.
US?
I don't buy into your myths.
I'm fact checking you on that.
Yeah, Greg, she's
but yeah.
making more than you are.
No, but like there are real things to worry about. The EU has real problems. This is not one of them.
That's right. They like those tariffs. Those got to come down on the cars. What do you think?
I lived in England for a year when I met Peter and then went over there, and I had to leave. The rules, there's so many rules.
The rules were holding you back, Dana.
I
You're a
couldn't
free
take it.
spirit.
I felt like I was suffocating.
She cannot be contained.
You cannot forget all of these rules, man.
Listen,
I got to get out of England.
I go to bed
America.
at 8 o'clock. They tell me 7:30. I will stay up a half an hour.
I'll have 2 tablespoons, not just one.
I will read as many books as I want. My book club is open for everybody.
Bongino?
Did you ever see? Remember that horrible movie Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone?
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
You go back and watch
Underrated.
that movie now.
It's amazing.
And you want to talk about how quickly the culture's changed. It was satirical
Right.
when Sandra Bullock starts telling Sylvester Stallone, "We don't use these terms now." Watch that movie
Yeah.
now.
I've always
It's-
said
it's prophetic.
Sylvester
It's not
Stallone ahead
satirical.
of his time.
Always.
Stay right there. Fan Mail Friday's up next.
Fan Mail Friday. We're answering your burning questions. That sounds painful, doesn't it? Okay. Frenchie Firecracker begins with a great question. I love this question. What's the most interesting thing you can see out of your kitchen window? I think I'm going to go to you, Dana, first, because I have a feeling you have something outside your window.
Well, first of all, I have to stand on my tiptoes so I can see out of the kitchen window. Yeah, I got something to say. This building across the street from me is redoing its roof, okay? So there's been these guys working there for about 6 months. I cannot believe I'm going to say this. I watch these guys. They
Does Peter know?
go to the bathroom on the roof.
Yes.
Yes.
Wait, over the roof?
No,
No, they
not
can't.
over the roof. Like
On the roof?
down the drain on the roof.
That is disgusting.
Yeah, I can see that up.
You should film it and give it to like an intrepid reporter in the local news.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're not allowed to go anywhere else to use the restroom, but it's like kind of like you guys. You're surrounded by buildings. What are you thinking?
Oh my God.
Ugh, what terrible, Marie. I would never pee in the open doors,
No.
open places anymore.
In the same
Today.
Yes, and today.
So I live in an apartment building in D.C. and right across from us is a guy who I think is growing weed in his apartment. But he keeps his television on 24/7, all day, every day, and he
On
has
Fox News?
No, I don't think so. And he like
I
walks.
think he's a CNN guy.
He walks around in various states of dress, often holding a cat.
Nice.
And so there's this like character and you can see him right out of our window, and he has these bizarre lights that I think help with the pot.
Those are called heat lamps. Wow. My friend told me.
I think you're talking about Brian Stelter. Dan.
You know, I live in Florida, so I live off like a lake. You know, there's a
You
lake.
see ballot boxes
Basically,
floating.
Hanging chads.
Probably so. I've been in a lake in the back, right? But, you know, you dig a hole in Florida, there's a lake.
Yeah.
So we just moved in like 3.5 years ago. One day I'm in the kitchen, and I'm like, there's like a dude sitting in my backyard. He's just hanging. What's he doing? The dude's fishing in my backyard. But here's the thing, like, the houses surround the lake. Like, you live right over there. Like, are the fish better? I mean, it's not that big of a lake. Like, you can see the other side. So, yeah, I saw this dude fishing in my backyard one time. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm a New Yorker. You don't fish in the backyard.
The upside is you could dump the body right there.
Right, and no problems at all. No one would ever see, and the alligators would get him before you ever knew.
Oh my
You know,
Jesse?
I'll get some.
I could see the Freedom Tower.
Oh, wow, that's great.
really nice.
I know where you
Okay,
live,
that's a
so
nice
that's
Yeah.
a great view.
Did I say too much?
No, I think you did. Now we know where you live, what neighborhood you live in. I live above a busy street. So I see crime, I see everything. But there's a woman who across the way who, I don't know how to say it, but she Porky Pigs it. Only wears a shirt. It's just not the way she should be doing that.
Like Winnie the Pooh?
Yes, she's like Winnie the Pooh.
Like Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, she Porky Pigs.
Porky Pigs. It's like,
Wait,
bugs
so
me.
you and Dana are both looking at a lot of nasty stuff.
Yeah.
Me too, the guy with the pot.
Maria, this is a great question. Maria Bernwinkler writes, what
great
would
name.
be your skill or profession in a post-apocalyptic world? Would you be a fighter, a farmer, a builder, or never make it more than a week? That's a great question. I got to go to you, Dan, because you're Secret Service. You were probably most equipped to survive.
Well, here's the deal. I spent most of my life like doing mixed martial arts and stuff. I love it. It's my thing, you know.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The irony of doing that and trying to be like a survivalist is it's taken such a toll on me, I couldn't fight my grandmother right now. My 93-year-old grandmother,
Yeah.
Dana, she's a 93-year-old Italian, looks better than I do.
Yeah.
She walks, she's all mobile. I can't even, you know why I don't wear ties? I get this question a lot. Why don't you wear ties on Fox News? The answer is not because I don't own ties. My wife buys them for me all the time. My elbows are so arthritic, I cannot make a tie knot. So I could not be a survivalist. Dana
That
could
is
take
such a,
me no
it's such a
problem
good
right
point
now.
for young people, whether it's in bodybuilding or anything. It's like when you get older, everything falls apart.
football?
You do too much.
I should lay off the weights.
You should, Jesse.
Did you? What about my injury?
Oh, yeah, you had a hand injury.
From the phone, from refreshing the phone on election night,
I
and
saw
now
your
the pain
tweet on
is
that.
shooting from here up through my.
That's like
amazing.
carpal tunnel.
You tweeted about that, didn't
I
you?
did.
That you had some
I didn't know if I didn't tweet it, it didn't happen.
Jesse, any survival skills? What would be your role in a post-apocalyptic world?
I would probably have caused the apocalypse, so I think I'm good after that. They'd probably lock me up.
Dana?
I think I'd be a chronicler. Like, I could chronicle.
Just what they need.
Yeah.
You would be indispensable.
Still no food.
Still no.
I could tweet about it.
Still no food.
I could tweet everything.
Marie?
I don't know. I think I would be a farmer. I would take that one. I'm from Ohio. Like, I grew up in a pretty rural area, so I would,
What kind of things?
I don't know, corn,
Corn,
soybeans.
soybeans.
We could make whiskey out of the corn.
Oh, there you go. That you just
Now
started.
you're talking.
See, you just started
You're
civilization.
the most indispensable.
You just started civilization. See, my thing is, I remember when you were watching, like, reading about the Middle Ages, there was always like a jester. Like, why would the king? Why would the
That way
king
you would be.
let this fool live? Because he was a fool. That I would immediately be the fool. So they go, he'll entertain us, so we won't kill him. That's why comedy, I think, evolves, is because it was a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest thing you've witnessed at an airport? Dana, come on.
Oh, that's kind of a weirdest thing. I can't think. Nothing comes to mind. You do see some weird stuff.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, I remember this one lady. She brought on a whole bag of sunflower seeds.
Oh.
And then she cracked them the entire time. People still remember me tweeting about that from years ago. So I'm a good tweeter.
Yeah, you are. Jesse, weirdest thing?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Weirdest thing.
People with their shoes off on planes. With not socks, not on like a transatlantic flight when you have your little socks on.
Yeah,
when
but
people you can see their toes on flights.
That's not allowed.
Or
I
on the,
saw a
no,
guy-
Jesse, that's not allowed.
You just reminded me. I saw a guy once with alcohol gel, putting it on his bare feet.
Oh,
I guess 'cause he
oh my
had sandals
God.
on, and when you walk,
That's
you gotta
wrong.
take. And it's just that's not what that's meant for.
No.
Jesse, you saw it?
I mean,
No.
people that
Yeah, it
change
happens.
in the
Gross.
stalls of the bathroom.
What if they have no
I think
choice?
that's just going a little too far.
But you know what? Where are you going to change? Well, I mean, maybe you don't have. Not everybody
You mean on
has
the
the
plane?
flight lounge, Jesse, like you. Weirdest thing I've seen at the airport: James Carville. I saw that. And I go, whoa.
I also think it's weird when you see people that are there like 5 hours before their flight.
That was a
That's
jab
weird.
at me.
Yeah.
That was a jab
I
at me.
kinda-
I do everybody a favor by being early. So everybody else, I don't crowd people.
Yeah.
It's a favor. The producer's telling me that's BS. All right, one more thing next.